Friday to you all. It's good to be together. Thank you, Michael, for that wonderful, inspiring message. This is
Jan
and Timothy, and we're course students. And today we're going to take a look at lesson 100, and we're also going to look at, from the text, the message of crucifixion, really briefly. But let's do, before we discuss any of that, we want to do a little quiet centering exercise just for a moment from this lesson. So
did you say it's lesson 100?
Yes.
This is the 100th day of the year.
Yeah. So to kind of pick up, I think, on what Michael was saying, it says that's one of the biggest differences between the Holy Spirit and the ego. The ego is always futurizing the problem when that's done. So we don't have to wait, and that's the import of this this paragraph. Let me just read the words here. We'll take a quiet moment with it to center us in the truth of who we are, because the truth of who we are is the answer to whatever situation, whatever problem we have. So the Course is saying, this self of love will be there, and you can reach this self now. What would you rather look upon in place of him who waits that you may look on him? What little thought has the power to hold you back? What foolish goal can keep you from success? When love calls to you, when it is love itself that is calling. Just take a quiet moment.
Thank you. I want to really, today's lesson is really, joy is contagious. That's the real meaning of it. And I think it fits in with Good Friday when we look at Good Friday from the way that Jesus is telling us in A Course in Miracles what it's all about. So I was raised Catholic, and it's like, oh, the blood, it's like the suffering. The more Jesus suffers for you, the more you're supposed to be loyal to him. And boy, did he suffer. He took on the sins of the world. Now, the Course, Jesus is, we accept that Jesus is the author of the Course, given to Helen Schuckman and Bill Thetford. But he is reinterpreting it the crucifixion in a completely different way. One of the things that I found really interesting was I read a book about St. Paul in which it explains why Paul made the whole, let's call it a mythology, a narrative, all of that suffering stuff. There was a reason at the time, but in A Course in Miracles, he's saying that there's no need to suffer.
Right.
And Michael mentioned this earlier. There's no sacrifice in love. Jesus wasn't sacrificing. He was demonstrating that he had moved his identification from the body to spirit.
One of the things about the Course that'll help you understand it, all of these theological constructs, like crucifixion, gift salvation, the second coming, all of these theological constructs, he brings into your personal, interpersonal relationships. Basically, what he's saying is, don't blame something else for your experience.
Right.
Don't blame something else for your experience. Your experience was a choice. So he's saying this message that you cannot be hurt and you cannot hurt anybody else. Teach only love because that's what you are. So if you take that whole crucifixion theology stuff that's been used for crowd control or whatever it's been used for, and bring that into your personal life and see who's responsible for the content in my mind.
And who's responsible for my experience, therefore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
We can change our thoughts, we can change our life, therefore.
So no one can be hurt. You cannot be hurt. You really can't hurt anybody else.
That's so huge.
Right, and that takes a lot of wisdom to understand that. Okay, well, I'll rob them of $100 because they can't be hurt. I mean, that's crazy talk.
Right. The Course still says the golden rule is the rule for good behavior. For how does it say it? It's the ethical law.
Yeah.
The golden rule: do unto others as you would have others do unto you. So we're not going to hurt anybody if we are at that level where we think taking $100 from me would hurt. I don't want to do it to you. Yeah. So that's another story altogether. But that whole can I just talk a little bit or ask a little bit about that idea? I can't be hurt. That's like really hard for a lot of us to understand until we've done a lot of inner work on it.
Do that, but let me preface that with this idea that you don't have to suffer to get to
love, joy,
and to your healing. There's not a price to pay.
Right.
It's just acceptance.
Right. Acceptance is there.
So what'll help? I replace God. So now God's mad at me. God's going to punish me. So if I'm trying to replace God, I punish myself. That's the only reason you're suffering. You're punishing yourself. You think you're paying a price. You don't need to pay a price.
Right.
That's
what he's saying. There's no price. It's a gift from God. And when we accept the gift, we become indescribably happy. And that's what we give to other people. And that's the lesson here.
Yeah.
I want to give just another minute or two,
please,
to the historical Jesus, because this is Good Friday, and I just want to say what the Course is saying, and I think the deeper message of unity is this very, very same, and that is the Christ mind is in all of us, in everything. The Christ mind is in everything that lives. And even the Course puts it in terms of nature, rocks and trees and blades of grass and all that. So that is the Christ. So Jesus embodied the Christ really fully. He was really connected as an identity to the Christ in all of us. That's who he was. That's why he could experience having nails driven and loving the person who did it, and having no judgment at all about that thief that was on the other side. He said, today we're going to be in paradise together. It's like, yay for our team. That is the Jesus that the Course tells us about, and says the idea that he paid for your suffering. It says, consider this. Would God ask his son, whom he loves, to suffer for what? No, the message of the crucifixion is only love exists, only spirit exists. So Jesus was so identified with spirit that when he came back, he could take up anybody he wanted. I want to show my favorite.
Some of these comments are also mentioned.
Gave us the reverence from I want to.
So the mother idea was very prominent. So that's a good piece of that.
I am so grateful to Catholicism. I don't want anybody to think differently. I am so grateful for the I think she mentioned, whoever it was, I'm sorry, the print is so tiny. I'm so grateful for having had my heart open to God and to Jesus and to the Holy Mother, all of that. It's like, without Catholicism, I wouldn't have been able to grow. But at a certain point, I had to say, thank you very much. I need to go on. It's like Michael was saying about vertical. Make sure you're not staying horizontal. And if there are Catholics on this call and you love your church and your teaching, I'm with you, and I don't want to in any way make it wrong.
Can I mention just the one central feminine reference in the course? Is it calls forgiveness, which is your only function. Forgiveness is your sister.
Yeah.
Who comes
Sister
to help
prayer.
you with communion and love.
Yeah.
So that's think of that. It's your sister who comes to end this lack so you experience love. And your sister is forgiveness. Your sister is salvation.
Yeah.
Right?
I want to share this picture of Jesus. This is not the suffering Jesus. This is my favorite. And we don't talk a lot about Jesus when we're teaching the course, because I know for myself, I had to just ignore the fact of where it came from for 10 years. Like, don't talk to me about that guy. But I have a different relationship now, and I'm going to show you. There we go. Oops, we don't want
that's good.
We don't want glare on it, but you can see it. Doesn't he look human? Doesn't that look almost like a photograph? I just totally love it. He speaks to me. So he likes this one. Here, pull it back a little bit. This is the one from the Shroud of Turin. So this is probably more accurate.
Right, but look at those eyes.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful and gentle, so welcoming?
Yeah.
So that's Christianity in the old days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're not rocking with that anymore.
I want to honor Jesus for, he said there's a lot that he couldn't tell the disciples because they weren't ready for it yet. And then he came back with new thought. Probably, it wasn't really started by Mary Baker Eddy, but, here in the United States. And then Myrtle and Fillmore, what is his first name? I forgot. With Unity and Holmes.
That's Charles Fillmore.
Charles Fillmore.
That's a guy.
Yeah. And my fave, I used to go to Eric Butterworth's services in New York. Totally, completely. I'm so grateful for Unity and for Unity's sponsorship all over the world of people learning A Course in Miracles, because I think they knew too, there's more.
Is it? Can I just, if we want to get to lesson 2, right?
We do.
So I just want to say one more thing.
Thanks, Jesus.
Can I say one more thing?
You
about
say whatever you want.
Why he chose the crucifixion. So a lot of idea about how to end suffering in systems was sacrifice the innocent, right?
Sacrifice the innocent.
Sacrifice. They would offer it up to the gods. Mostly the young virgins. Sacrifice. So he chose the crucifixion to say, no, it's not about sacrifice. The innocence. He said, I'm taking this as a pedagogical event. This is going to be a teaching event whereby the most outrageous assault,
right,
even death, I did not interpret myself
right
as that body.
Right.
I interpreted myself as love, and you cannot destroy love.
Right.
So he said, this is going to be a lesson to all of you. When you're a little bit frustrated with your roommate or your spouse, you're a little bit frustrated. He wants to give us the courage.
Right. We can forgive anything.
We can forgive anything. That's the best one.
Yeah.
So that's the crucifixion is a lesson, a demonstration. Right. We can do this.
And let's not forget to say that we can do it. We can forgive anything when we turn over our pain to the Holy Spirit or to Jesus or Buddha or
Holy
whoever
Mother.
is your Ishtadevata.
Ishtadevata. Okay, so anything else on
No, we'll let the historical be done with. But I just really wanted to mention it because it is Good Friday, and I want to leave you with some joy. So it was a message Jesus didn't suffer, and we don't have to suffer either. And today's lesson, my part is essential to God's plan for salvation, is saying joy is contagious. I want you to go out and infect everybody with joy.
Yeah. Well, that is, so Michael was
Don't go out and do it. Just do it by Zoom, phone, text.
So Michael was talking about the vertical sense of self. Go to the vertical sense.
Yeah.
So the cross always really, it wasn't about crucifixion. It was about the vertical, that reality comes down, and it's expressed here, and horizontally it's shared.
Right.
That was the
That's-
idea of
yep.
the cross.
Yeah.
So from the vertical, reality descends into time. It has a bit of timelessness that you can share with everybody, and then they can come to the vertical,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So there's no sense of the suffering with the world fighting against the world.
Let's relax, huh?
Yeah. So my part is what?
Essential.
And
Essential. And what is it? It's not to suffer,
It's what though?
to be happy.
Joy. Yes.
Yeah.
So happiness is something, a property we think we have, like if this happens, then I'm
Then
happy.
I'll be
I
happy.
have the property of joy. But it's not saying joy isn't a property. That's who you are.
I know.
That's part
That's
of love.
yeah, we're growing into that one.
But joy is inseparable from love.
Yeah.
You cannot
Yeah.
say, so that's another separation isn't true.
So that's also a what Michael was saying about boundaries and then necessity for keeping your relationships growing and joyful.
Right. That was really good.
Yeah.
So that's got to be where the wisdom and guidance comes in, because if the lesson is I can't be hurt, nor can I hurt anybody else, then I can't get away with, well, I can't hurt, I'm going to take the money, right? That's
Right.
where the wisdom has to come in.
Right.
How am I gonna negotiate this passage through time now that I vertically join with the truth of love?
Yeah. Theoretically it seems like a challenge, but it's like when we do it,
Yeah.
then we feel like we're being moved. We're
Yeah.
being carried along a quiet path in summer, as it says. Yeah, right? So it's
And you and I sort of celebrate often like the intimacy of our relationship,
yeah.
when we recognize when we join in love, it's going to be able to be shared
It
with every word.
it makes it easier for other people to smile, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
So when we say we touched the river, we don't mean we touched it in one spot, and we went to every word.
Right. Right. Yeah. I guess that's true. We want to read it. Can I read it just a
Yeah,
little
go for it.
bit on this
Yeah.
thing here?
Go for it.
Okay. So this is an encouragement for all of us to let go of our anxieties, worries, grief, sadness, anger, rage, whatever we got going on.
So if you're going to those who are reading along, tell them where you're reading.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try to do that. So I thought I would read paragraph 4, or just dip into paragraph 4. It's on page 180. You are indeed essential to God's plan. Just as your light increases every light that shines in heaven. Just, he's telling us we actually exist still right now as the fully realized Christ in heaven. That is from the point of view of God and all other realized beings. We are still a light in heaven, no matter how dark our lives seem right here. So your joy on earth calls to all minds to let their sorrows go and take their place beside you in God's plan. Our joy is what we are using as a carrier for other people's joy. We're carriers. What do they call them? Vectors.
So let me understand what you're saying. So you can say God or love. Is this what you're saying? God or love, however you want to call reality, is saying to us that our joy is their call for others to enjoy in love.
Yeah. We go out smiling instead of grumpy. When we go out smiling, other people that receive that smile are much more likely to have a lightening of their heart, right? So it's important for us to be happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's huge.
I know.
So it's not just about this individuality.
Not just about me, but it has to start with me.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the good news.
That's the good news.
It can start right here, right now.
Yeah. It kind of is surprising to me how often the Course talks about you, individual, me, me, not us all here, but me, and what I can do to make myself happy. But it's like, unless I'm happy, I can't spread joy. So it's, unless
So-
mama's happy, nobody's
Nobody's happy. So the course's idea of part whole, right,
Uh-huh.
is that the whole is in every part.
Yeah, the whole Christ, all of God is in
All
you.
this stuff, it's right here. The whole
Yep.
is here. It appears as a part, but it's carrying the whole.
Yep, that's what he's saying.
And he's been saying that from the beginning in this set of lessons. That's the strength that comes, the strength from all of love.
Right,
Joins you as soon as you decide for love.
right.
That's incredibly empowering, right?
It is. I've experienced that as a very helpful idea to put into practice when one time I was really in trouble trying financially, and I just called on the entire Christ being. We call it the atonement, accepting the atonement. Called on all of it to help me recognize that I am part of that. Not to help me with my problem. Help me recognize that I am part of the whole.
So
And-
would you say this is correct to say this? So the ego is always making your joy conditional.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if you do this, then you're going to be happy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If I do this, then I'm going
Yeah.
to be happy.
Yeah.
But joy in yourself is not conditional. It's just what's the truth of who you are.
Well, that is the truth. Yeah, I could still play the game with myself, though. I could say, I'll be joyful. I'll be happy when I, dye my eyebrows.
Right. Right. So that's
Then I'll be happy. No, that's bull.
right.
Right.
So that's making the joy
I did dye
conditional.
my eyebrows. Did you notice?
You're so cute. Yeah. So that's part of the difference, right? It's not circumstantial. Like if
Right.
I do this, then I'm gonna be happy.
Right.
It's not about deserving happiness.
No, right.
At all.
Everybody
You
deserves
are
it.
joy.
Even your favorite political punching bag deserves us to give his or her Christhood to them.
Even yeah.
Yes. Yes. That's forgiveness. It means letting go of my belief that I know what that individual
Yeah.
is all about. The belief that that individual could hurt anybody, right? Nobody could be hurt. We can have joy no matter what. Oh, I want to tell my little 10 boom story.
Go for it.
So I saw this really cool documentary or movie. I don't know. I think it was called The Secret Room, and it was about the 10 Boom sisters. Their name is spelled T-E-N, capital B-O-O-M. And these were two Dutch sisters who hid Jews in their house, and they were caught. And on the train, on the way to Auschwitz, one of them said to the other, "Oh, this is really over the top." But she said, "Oh, sister, isn't it wonderful that we can go to a place where people need love?" And she went there, and it was like outpouring of love. That's what she did. And she had lice, and she had all the things, and she died there. But she refused to let go of her joy. Well, that's what Jesus is saying the crucifixion's message is.
Yeah. And it's just there. Love doesn't wait to heal.
Yeah.
You can experience that joy. You know that story you just reminded it. I heard on NPR today that the governor of New York put a call out. If you're a nurse somewhere, please come.
Oh, really? Oh, my
And
gosh.
so NPR interviewed this black woman from Georgia who was a nurse. She had a discussion with her kids, but she said, "This is my higher calling.
Oh,
this
God
is my
bless her.
life's purpose." And she put herself in harm's way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So so our guidance has to be,
It's individual, isn't it?
yeah.
There's no big rule. It's not like every nurse should go there.
Yeah,
Not at all. Not at all. And we need
Yeah.
to the spirit in order to do that without pain.
That's right.
That's the whole thing.
And so that's where he makes the choosing really simple because we think there's a lot of choices. Should I get toilet? Should I get this? Get that? No. Are you the ego or you love? That's the choice.
Right.
That's it. It's very simple. And then when you've quieted your mind down into peace, when you've chosen yourself from the Holy Spirit's viewpoint, then you can hear the whole love's guidance, Holy Spirit's guidance.
Right.
Okay, so give Joan a call.
Yeah, right.
Right.
When we're quiet in our mind, then we're just flowing.
And think of all these people here who are stepping up. They're saying, I want to fulfill my life's purpose.
Yeah,
I want to fulfill this healing plan.
You know what is the very cool thing about, somebody called it sanctuary time. That is so good, this sequestering.
Yeah.
Because we're all like on retreat. I mean, most of us are. And we have a chance to really look at, what is my life's purpose? Am I still moving? I loved how Michael said, you could be horizontal and not change, not grow, or you could use this time to really grow. And we can't grow if we don't pay attention to what Spirit wants for us. If we think in terms of what ego is counseling, as our higher purpose.
Yeah.
Our higher purpose might be to stay home and pray all the time.
That's what we're doing.
It is.
I mean,
It's fun.
Yeah, I know. It's a great, that Chinese word for adversity and opportunity is the same.
Crisis. That's the translation.
Yeah, I know. So it's a choice. So
Yeah.
how are we going to take this?
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah. So that seems counterintuitive. Like, I don't have to deserve happiness. It's not about deserving happiness. It's just like
all.
being who I am.
Right.
Just,
And be happy. Be happy being who you are. And that means with all your faults, as much as I might like to change them, you got to be happy just being who you are. Right? And me too. And you got to be happy with me the way I am.
well,
That's the rule.
let's work on that.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're having fun.
I think both you and I had mentioned, and I've spoken to other course students, how long it took. I mean, maybe some people get it right away, but we were reading this and studying it, trying to live it for a long time until this, I can be happy.
Yeah.
And I don't have to wait.
Yeah.
I don't have to wait.
Yeah, now here's the thing. So you were saying about how ego is always conditional. I'll be happy when. I'll be happy if. I will love you if. You would love me if.
That's it.
Okay, and all that conditional stuff is mistaken. It goes right along with being identified with the physical, because it's in discrete units.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't like this particular piece of furniture.
Right.
I need another one. Then I'll be happy.
Exactly.
Right. Ask and you shall receive means ask for the highest, the best, not the conditional. So let's say you're thinking, if I had a new car, I'd be happy. Just go for happy, period. But ask. Just like with forgiveness, we have to ask.
That's a beautiful.
We have to do it with God, with Holy Spirit. And we can ask for the thing that comes after the if. If I had a blank blank, then I would feel joyous. Just go for joy.
Yeah.
If I had something, I would feel peaceful. Just go for peace. Right? All of those big qualities, just go for them unconditionally. Those are our birthright.
Do you remember when we discovered we'd been reading the rules for guidance? So he gives us rules for guidance. It's judgment or forgiveness, what you can live for, right?
Yeah.
And how for a long time we looked to guidance for what should I do? And then we realized what we have to do is decide what we want.
Right.
And once we've done that, then what we'll be told what to do.
And what we want is happiness, peace, joy, love, those kinds of things. Those are what we really want.
That's right.
And the other things are just conditions that ego puts on it.
Right. So remember when the rules for guidance, he would say, there's a certain set of thoughts that come.
Right.
So you and I are older and we're on a certain.
You maybe.
Well, whatever.
I'm sorry.
No. Well, anyway, so it took us that long to see. No, decide what you want.
I know. You discovered that.
Well, it was a big deal.
It is a big
Because
deal.
then I'm not jonesing like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? It's what do you want?
Right.
And everything comes.
Right.
And then the other rule is make no decisions by yourself. Make the decisions with the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Because now you're making them with the ego and you don't know it.
Yeah, right.
Right? That's what's going on.
Right.
Right? So if I decide for a happy day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I decide with the Holy Spirit, that's the day I'm going to have.
Right. And every time we need to make a decision that we can be aware of, we ask again with Holy Spirit.
Right.
I want happiness. What do you want me to do? Rather than, straight up trying to figure out what's my special function? What am I supposed to do today? What about do?
Yeah.
It's a lot of do.
There's a lot of do-do.
On my website, there's,
I want to just remind people, our God's plan for salvation, that whole thing about God's plan for salvation, the acronym for that is GPS.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Turn on your GPS.
also remember where he said in the rules for guidance that he said it's not wise to become obsessed with decisions because they're always constant. They're always constant. So rather than that, there's a certain set that emerges that you can get a hold on. So like here, it's will I have food? Will I have whatever? There's a certain set that continually comes up. Work with that set.
Yeah, work with what you got.
Work with that set that's come up. And then what do I want? I decide with the Holy Spirit. Yeah, so this.
We don't. We have a minute. I'm going to bring in our Easter thing. I want to show them.
We one of our roommates here has she's very artistic and she's created a rabbit heaven. How do rabbits look at Easter? So Jan wants to share that.
Okay, so I don't know how they're going to see it.
I don't know.
Oh, this is pretty good. Okay, this is like a little village of bunnies, and they're doing things. And then we have this other bunny that's just way bigger. And so my comment is this one their concept of God?
So go forth and multiply joy, like the rabbits. Go forth,
Multiply joy. Happy Easter. Oh, maybe we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be here.
Yeah.
Thank you,
All right.
Michael.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome.